This is Algebra 1, Lesson 4, and these are the practice problems. And they do tell us in the directions, do not use a calculator. All right, so let's look at A. We're multiplying mixed numbers, so we're going to need to change those into improper fractions first. I've got 4 wholes here, so that's like 2 over 2 plus 2 over 2 plus 2 over 2 plus 2 over 2 plus a half, right? Or I can think of the shortcut. 4 times 2 is 8 plus the 1 is 9. So I've got 9 halves times my 2 wholes here. 2 fives is 10 plus the 4 is 14, and that's 14 over 5. Then we're going to multiply straight across because we don't see anything. Or can we cancel? Yeah, we can. We can cancel there because we've got a 2 here. How many 2's in there? 1. How many 2's in here? 7. And we can multiply straight across now. 9 times 7 is 63. And 1 times 5 is 5. Now that's more than a whole. So I can ask myself, how many 5's are in 63? Well, there's 12 because 12 times 5 is 60. And then I'm going to have 3 left. And you could do the long division there if you would like. All right. And then we've got B. We've got a division of mixed numbers. 3 and 1/4. I've got 3 wholes. So 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13 fourths. We're going to keep this division for a second and rewrite this one first. So 1 whole, so that's 8 eighths. So 1 8 plus the 3 is 11 eighths. And then I'm going to keep change to multiplication and flip or multiply by the reciprocal. Then I ask myself, well, is there anything I can cancel there? And I see that I can. There's 1 4 in there, and there's 2 of them there. And now I can multiply straight across. 13 times 2 is 26, and 1 times 11 is 11. And that is enough to make 2 wholes, which would make 22, and that would leave me 4 left. So 2 and 4 elevenths would be your final answer. Let's look at C. Now we are adding. So when we add or subtract decimals, we're going to think about money, right? So I'm going to line these decimals up. 8.416. And this one is 705. So I need the 7, the 0, and the 5 lined up like that. That's like $705, right? And I've got my decimals lined up. I'm going to add those together. These are zeros under here. 3 and 6 is 9. 2 and 1 is 3. 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. 7 and 8 is 15 plus the 5 is 20. 4 and 2 is 6. And then 7. So our answer here is 760 and 939 thousandths. All right, D. I'll need to line these up as well. Minus 75 and 88 hundredths. Got those decimals lined up to subtract. Now we're going to need to borrow. 2 minus 8, I can't do that. So I'm going to borrow a 10 from the neighbor here. And that takes it up to 12. Well, now the neighbor can't do the 5 minus 8. So the neighbor goes to this neighbor and all the way over, right? This one says, all right, fine, you can have 1. But then he says, well, give me 1. Right? And then this one gives to this neighbor. And there we go. All right, so 12 minus the 8 is 4. 15 minus the 8 is 7. 9 minus 5 is 4. 9 minus 7 is 2. And then a 7. So 724 and 74 hundredths is your difference there. Okay, so we found a product here. We found a quotient here, answer to a division. We found a sum here, and we found a difference here. All right, now we're going to find a product for E. Now, we do not have to line up the decimals here, but they just so happen to have the same length, same number of decimals, numbers after the decimal, I should say. Okay, and I'm going to multiply this. 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus the 1 is 1. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 4 is 8, plus the 1 is 9. Now, when I go to multiply by the 4, I'm going to add a 0 placeholder. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 0 is 0, plus that is 2. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 2 is 18. Now I'm going to multiply by the 6, which is two placeholders, because that 6 is worth more. So we're going to multiply by the 6 here. 6 times the 5 is 30. 6 times 0 is 0, plus the 3 is 3. 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 4 is 24, plus that 4 is 28. And now I'm going to add all those up. 0, 1, 6, 17 plus 3 is 20. Let's see, that's 12. That's a 10. That's 3. Now, how do I know where my decimal goes? Well, I've got a trapped 0. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers behind the decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 302 and 61 thousandths is my answer here. And again, like we said in the review video, you can ask yourself, does this make sense? I think that's great if you stop and say, you know what, does this answer make sense? Well, this is about, let's say that's about 50. Okay, we're going to round it, make it a little easier on ourselves. Let's say this is about 6. So this is about 50 times 6. So the answer should be about 300. That helps me feel really good about where I put my decimal, because I know the decimal here would make it about 300. If I had accidentally put my decimal here, I would say, oh, you know, I did something wrong, because that number is too much, right? So we can estimate to check ourselves. All right, with F, I want you to, again, think about this. It's kind of like, you don't have to write this, just look. This is kind of like a fraction. And if I had this as a fraction, I could multiply the top and the bottom, the numerator and denominator, by the same number to be able to get rid of the numbers past the decimal if I wanted to, right? So I can multiply this top by 100 and the bottom by 100, and that would get rid of this decimal. It'd just be a 4. Well, that same thought process can be applied to when it is written like this. I'm going to move this over 2, which is essentially multiplying by 100. So I'm going to move this over 2 and move it up. So I'm going to erase just because it's kind of messy looking. All right, so 4 into 4 goes 1 time. It won't go into 0. It won't go into the 2. And it will go into 28. 107/10 is your answer for this one. And then we have G. Use 2 unit multipliers to convert 75 feet to centimeters. They're giving us a good clue here. It's going to take 2 of them. So again, what we start with goes here, and it's going to be written over 1. Have you gotten used to that yet? Then we're going to have a unit multiplier, another unit multiplier, and then an answer. And the answer is going to end up in centimeters. Okay, so you can at least write this much. It kind of helps you know how to start, okay? So we're going to go from feet to inches to centimeters. They gave us a nice little clue here. Well, what do we know about feet and inches? Okay, we know that 1 foot is 12 inches, or I could write 12 inches is 1 foot. Let's see which one would go best. Which one do you think? Well, I have feet here, so I'm going to want feet here so that they'll cancel. So I'm going to put 12 inches over 1 foot. And these will cancel. All right, now let's move on. We are now in inches. It's the only unit that's left here. So we're in inches, but we really want to get to centimeters. So what do we know here about inches and centimeters? Didn't we say that 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters? All right, and we could switch that, right? We could put 2.5 centimeters over 1 inch, whichever one. I'm not going to write either of those. I'm just going to write this fact. And can you figure out this other unit multiplier? What do we need on the bottom? We're going to need inch, aren't we? So we're going to put 1 inch on the bottom so that these inches will cancel out. And I'm going to put 2.54 centimeters on top. Now all my units have canceled out except for centimeters, and that's what I wanted. So that's good. All right, now in the answers, it has it listed as 75 times 12 times 2.54 and then centimeters. That's written in bold in the solutions manual. And it also has it worked out. And they have that as equal to 2,286 centimeters. And I won't go over those computations. You can check that. But that's why you're going to see this like this in the solutions manual. They're showing you what that looks like, and then they're showing you the final answer. All right, use 2 unit multipliers to convert. I'm going to start with what they gave us. 450 inches to miles. I'm going to have a unit multiplier. I'm going to have another unit multiplier. That's going to be equal to some answer that's going to be in miles. And they gave us a nice little hint. Go from inches to feet to miles. So we know inches and feet, right? We know that 1 foot equals 12 inches. So what are you going to put for your unit multiplier? You're going to want inches on the bottom, right? So let's put 1 foot over 12 inches. Okay? When we cancel that out, those inches, we're now in feet. So we went from inches to feet. Let's get from feet to miles now. What do we know about feet and miles? That's what we know. We're going to want feet to be down here so that the feet cancel. So let's put the 5,280 here and put the 1 mile above it. Again, unit multipliers. 1 foot equals 12 inches. 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. All right, then I'm going to write it out here. It'd be 450 on top in the numerator. And then in the denominator, it's going to be 12 times 5,280. It's kind of a crazy looking number, isn't it? 450 over 12 times 5,280. And whatever that number is a number of miles. Let's see if this makes sense. That it's going to be, because look, it's going to be a really tiny number. It's got a small numerator and a really big denominator, which means it's going to be a really tiny number. Well, you're talking about 450 inches, okay, going to miles. Well, if there are 5,280 feet in a mile, there are a lot more inches in a mile. So it would make sense that this would have to be a tiny number. And the book does tell us that when you work it out, it is 0.0071 miles. And it's also listed like this. And that's the end of the practice set.